know a little.
I know a little about it.
I know a little bit about love.
Baby, I can guess the rest.
All right, folks, this evening on this edition of I Know a Little, we're going to do some chili. I haven't decided what I'm going to call it yet. It's either going to be Bam Good chili or Lock, Stock, and Barrel chili. But here's some of the ingredients that's going in it. We got 2 pounds of ground chuck, and I don't like to use hamburger meat with a lot of fat in it because I don't want to have to drain the grease off. We got 1 pound of Italian sausage with the skin off. Now, I'll show you in a little bit how to take the skin off of one sausage, but I'm not going to do it on all of them. We got chili powder, oregano, cumin, basil, paprika, cayenne pepper, beef bouillon cubes, garlic, Worcestershire sauce, petite cut tomatoes, diced tomatoes with chili, tomato paste. We got chili beans in a spicy chili sauce and pinto beans in a mild sauce. We've got 1 red pepper, 1 green pepper. I like to use Vidalia onions. I like sweet onions. Y'all use whatever kind of onion you want to use. We got 2 jalapenos. It's important, if you don't want it too spicy, need to make sure that you devein and take the seeds out of the jalapenos because that's where the heat from the peppers come from. And 2 stalks of celery and 6 slices of bacon. All right, everybody, I'm going to show you how to take the skin off of the sausage. Now, y'all be nice and don't be having crazy thoughts. But it's not that hard. You just take your knife and just slide it right up underneath the skin. Now, of course, this one here is not wanting to cooperate. But you just slide it up underneath there and pull your knife down through the side of it like that, and the skin comes off real easy, just like that. I suppose you could use just regular sausage if you wanted to, but I prefer to use the Italian sausage because it gives it just a little bit more seasoning. Now let's do some prep work. Now let's saute some vegetables. Let's add our pepper, our celery, got a red pepper, onion. There's our jalapeno. Now we poured this in the pan. We had the bacon grease left over from where I cooked the bacon. That's how we're going to kind of season these vegetables. Now you can cut this stuff up as fine or as chunky as you want to. Just your consistency on how you want this stuff done is all up to you. But we're going to come back when we get these things to the way we want them. You just want to get these vegetables soft enough, and then we're going to transfer everything to the slow cooker. Now that we've got our vegetables sauteed up the way we want them, we're going to transfer them over to the slow cooker. We're going to put our tomatoes with the green chilies in. We're going to put all our beans in. Get out of there. Being stubborn. Once again, we've got pintos and chilies. Some people just like chili beans. Some people just like pinto beans. You use the beans you want to use. It's chili. It ain't got to be perfect. I'm not going to use all the tomatoes at first because when I add all the meat, this thing is going to be pretty full. So I'm going to add about 1.5 cans of the petite tomatoes, and then we'll see what kind of room we got left after that. Hopefully we can get it all in there. But it will be one full crock pot, I can promise you that. Almost forgot about the tomato paste. Thank goodness for my wife. I am not a professional. I just enjoy cooking. Okay, folks, I'm going to wash my hands, but first we need to talk about recycling. We try to recycle as much as we can. You know, you can take it however you want to take it, but we do try to do the best we can. So I'm going to wash my hands because I don't like to use gloves, and I know we talked about this in videos before, but it's just the way it is. I don't wear gloves. Lemon poppy seed. Well, this ought to be interesting. Put our hamburger meat in. Now on this sausage, you can break it up in chunks. You can cut it up however you want to do it. I just break it up in chunks because I'm going to end up kind of punching this stuff down a little bit more as I cook. So it doesn't really matter how small or big you make the pieces. Just make them the size you want to. Like I said, it's chili. Don't. Little story about chili. You know, there's a big debate about who made chili, where it come from. You know, we live here in North Carolina, so our chili generally has beans in it. I know in Texas, where supposedly chili originated from, it doesn't have beans. Chili around here, if it doesn't have beans in it, it goes on hot dogs. But anyway, Texas, you know, they started needing ways to cook food when they was out on the trail. So they usually carried a lot of spices around, a lot of chili, a lot of peppers, that kind of stuff. But chili back then used whatever kind of meat that they could find wherever they was at. And it was stuff they could cook in big batches, and it stuck to your ribs, and it went a long way. But there really wasn't a specific recipe for chili. It was altered over the years, and people did with it what they want to. Now, the other story that I have heard is that it came from a Catholic nun around the 1600s that supposedly got a vision and got the recipe from somewhere in Mexico. And the recipe that she used was very similar to the same stuff that the people from Texas did. So that's a little folklore on chili. We'll come back when we get this meat cooked down the way we want it. While I'm waiting on the meat to get cooked down, we're going to go ahead and add our spices. Now, once again, we'll put the accurate measurements on these ingredients at the end of the recipe. So we're putting in our chili powder. We're putting in our oregano, our cumin, basil, or some people call it, especially that English chef that I don't particularly care for, he calls it basil. He also calls it tomatoes. We call them tomatoes or maters or whatever you want to call them. We've got our Worcestershire or Worcestershire sauce. We've got our garlic. Got our 3 bouillon cubes. I suppose you could use the powdered bouillon cubes. With this being in the slow cooker, it's definitely going to cook it down. Salt, pepper to taste. And I believe that's it until the meat gets done. Let's transfer the meat and see if all this is going to fit in here. This is a 6-quart crock pot, so it's going to be full, and that is burning my fingers. So this thing's going to be pretty full. Hopefully I can get the other tomatoes in there, but I don't know. I think we might can. Like I said, this is a 6-quart cooker, so this is a lot of chili. We're making it for a get together at our church. We're having a chili cook-off. I've made this before, so I hope it does well. If you can't eat all this at one time, I mean, I suppose you could cut the recipe in half, or you could freeze what's left over or can it. Like I said, you could can 6 quarts, or I reckon that'd be 12 pints. We're going to add our bacon and get it all to come out of there. Get in there. Don't waste no bacon. Now, let's just see if I can get these rest of these tomatoes in there. Now I'm going to cook this all night long on low. When I get done, see, look at there, perfect. When I get done and it cools down, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. I always make chili a day ahead because when you let it sit, all of those spices just meld and get in everything. So it's like any kind of bean, pinto beans, black-eyed peas, anything like that. They're always better the next day. So that is a crock pot full. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like I said, I'm not a chef, I'm a cook. I enjoy cooking. I think my family likes my cooking, and most of the friends like my cooking. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and we could stand to be a little bit nicer to each other because you just never know. So y'all be good to one another out there. Thanks.